coming to you live from the cradle of motherfucking civilization. It's time for Destiny Down Under.
G'day and welcome to the 166th or 7th episode of the Destiny Down podcast. I am every week on Log Power, as every week on Log Power Slave. I'm rattled, man. I'm rattled.
Dude, you know what? You rattled me because I couldn't hear the intro. And then all of a sudden you're like, g'day, welcome. And I'm like, oh, fuck, we're in.
It's all gone wrong. It's all gone wrong today. Well, there we
happening?
go. No, I'll have to check that. Obviously, something's changed in the audio routing. As
I heard the clapping. I heard the clapping, not the intro though. Yeah, I can hear that.
Yeah, right. Okay. Well, something is amiss. We'll get to the bottom of it in future episodes.
Find out. Stick around to the end.
Stick around to the end. We'll give you the answer of what logs fucked up with the DDU this week. All right. Well, it's been another week in the Destiny community, that's for sure. But before we get into that, Matty, how you doing, man? I know that's the most loaded question of all time.
No. Okay, let me start at the beginning. This week's been pretty stressed. Danny's been fucking flat out stressed the entire week. She's doing policy, pandemic planning for government, and people don't understand how much work she's doing and how many teams she's leading. And, obviously when something goes bad, everyone points the fingers, and because she's higher up than most people, it gets pointed at her. So that sort of sucks. But so that's been stressful. I've been doing PhD data analysis, and my final article does not look very good. So that's getting me down a little bit. So I don't know how I'm going to solve that problem, but essentially I didn't have enough participants to get statistical significance. So fucking a good one. And so I've been self-medicating with streaming and just doing whatever I fucking want on stream like an absolute mad lad. So we've done Tarkov.
So I didn't know where you were headed with that. I was momentarily quite worried. Self-medicating. No, Matt. You're the good one.
You were meant to be the chosen one.
You're the best of us all.
We've done Tarkov. We've done Mountain Blade 2.
Oh, we're going to talk
which
about
I started
that.
yesterday.
We're going to talk about that later.
God.
That was fucking hilarious last night. Anyway.
And we've actually, I did a stream this morning with Sassy, Adrian, and Ascension. We started off with Trials. It actually was the most fun I've ever had in Trials this, since it's been re-released. It was actually pretty decent on Cauldron. So that was good. And then didn't encounter any hackers. And then we did a Tarkov game then. And Sassy fucking shot me in the head after giving him my update multiple times.
If you want to, if you want to see Matt as mean as Matt ever gets, ever, go and look at the last 5 minutes of his VOD, like right at the back end. I feel for Sass.
Playing the game.
I feel for Sass. I mean, to be fair, he did the wrong thing, but I just happened to sit down because I was dragging the chain, getting ready for this. So I've just sat down, loaded up Matt's stream to do that. Yeah, we're gonna do the podcast, and he's just boom,
explosion. I don't have. I think people are working this out. I don't really have any in betweens. I'm either super calm or you flip the switch and I'm just uber fucking fired up or angry. I don't really have increasing levels. It's either it's off or it's on, and it was on.
I think we're all a little bit like that. Fucking hair triggered. Just it doesn't take much.
Yeah.
It doesn't take much.
No, but it was actually a really fun time streaming this morning. So thanks everyone joining. And Sassy, I've been saying Sassy's more like a brother now, and so I feel like I can yell at him and get away with it.
I think we're all at that point. Like we've all at some point spat the dummy, and it's, you know, whether it's in someone's direction or just in general. Like I've had a few over the last couple of weeks where I just get like really wound up, and especially with trials. And we'll get into discussing that in a little while, because there's a huge section of the TWAB that is basically dedicated to some of the issues of that. But man, I think we're at that point where it's like, you know, we've been around each other for fucking half a decade at this point. We know what each other's like. We know that, you know, no one really means it. It's just in the moment.
And here's a fun fact. You know how Sassy has like different personalities, like in person Sassy is like the kindest person ever.
Yeah, he's.
And then now he's sort of like less toxic. He's got a third personality on stream. He plays differently. He talks differently. He's actually nice to people. He's great on stream. It's really good. Check him out.
You know, we've long been on Sass's case to go and pull his finger out and start streaming more often. And, you know, like life is busy and it's hard, but it's been encouraging to see him getting stuck into it. Anyway, this is the Sassy Down Under podcast. Welcome.
I mean, the thing is, some people just talk like they're on stream all the time, even though they're not. Just has to be like, okay, I'm moving my mouse fraction to the right. Now I'm clicking on this button, left click, right click. Equipping this thing here. I'm like, why are you telling me play for play? What the fuck you doing? Go stream, mate. That's what streamers do.
But like, that's the thing. It's one of the things that I've been trying to work on with trials, to bring it back to that, is that talk, because Sassa's great at it. Like I am fucking atrocious. I'm like flat out just trying to think about what I'm going to do, let alone tell anyone. And then I go and run in and get myself killed anyway. So, you know, good times. But
here's the thing. I think he's not very good at listening now. And there you go. I've said it.
Lent on the keyboard, the Lord Shack's keyboard that I haven't broke out for a while. Fuck, got him.
Yeah, got him. Shots fired.
Anyway,
love you, Sass. All right, there you go. How was your week?
Yeah, I mean, much like everyone's week, they've been atypical to say the least, with everything that's going on in the world at the moment. I'm going to be doing a bit of working from home over the next few weeks, so that's a good move for me. But man, Rach at work is much like Danny, copping the absolute brunt of all of this shit and sort of coming home every day exhausted and all of that, while like you and I just sit back and do fuck all, as is tradition. You know, they really, I don't know. I can't help but take my hat off to anyone that's out there interacting with the general public at the moment, because it's fucking wild. But yeah, beyond that, I've had a pretty good week actually. I've just been getting through my stuff, and I did something. I've committed the gravest sin of all in the Destiny universe, and I actually downloaded COD on Tuesday, and I gave it a whirl on Wednesday night, which I didn't stream because I didn't realize this, but when you play Call of Duty on a PC, which is, I think this is the first one I've played since I built all the computers and shit, there's actually like 4 billion keybinds for everything. And it took me a good hour or so just to go through, get the feel of things, and figure out where I needed everything to be and all that sort of shit. It was
what we had this conversation before. We had this fucking. Do you remember this conversation before you started the stream?
No,
you've already forgot, because I said to you, mate, I don't stream new games. I don't stream stuff.
Oh yeah.
When I know there's gonna be a shit ton of setup with keybinds, because it's piss. You're like, what did you say? Nah, fucking wing it. We fine.
Yeah, well, I mean, I didn't even get live, so it clearly wasn't fine.
You didn't even get live with it?
No, I mean, I probably will tonight. I'll probably play a little bit of trials. I played a card this morning. Got through that, so got 3 wins, so I can actually turn in tokens, which is great. But man, first game up against bots, not a particularly pleasant experience this morning. But you know, I'm glad you had a good one. It's so obvious, man.
Yeah, I actually had a really good one.
But yeah, all right. Well, what we might do, we might hit the sting. And we might come. You know what? We don't really need this thing. We're going to jump straight into our next cab off the rank in terms of what we're highlighting for SteelSeries to ultimately give away to you guys in a couple of weeks. So this is the Rival 3 mouse. Give it a look. So there you have it. It's very shiny. I like the click more heads, spend less bread. That's pretty good.
They're very hip and trendy. That's for sure.
They're on it. I mean, I couldn't write a jingle that effective. That's for sure. This one is.
They literally the marketing was from Twitch chat.
Well, I mean, if you can hit
the one guy marketing added due the next day, and he forgot to do his own work, so he just went into Twitch chat and saw click more heads. Yeah, that's good. And then like,
what rhymes with head? Bread, right?
Yeah, got him.
Sorry to that guy at SteelSeries. We've just outed your whole strategy, but
do we have the details with how we're going to give that shiny
still working on it. We're still working on it,
but that's what we're going to give away, right? We're going to give away
the keyboard from last week and
keyboard from last week.
Yep, and something we'll unveil next week. We're going to talk to our good friend Dean at SteelSeries, and he's going to bundle them all up and send them to wherever we want. So
so one person's going to get everything.
Yeah, that's the deal.
Wow.
There you go. So you're going to be decked out.
A keyboard, a mouse. And what's the last one?
And a something.
Oh, we haven't. Okay. Yeah. Guys, this is not like a bit we've rehearsed. This is me generally not knowing what we're doing.
Anyone who is out there that actually believes that there is any rehearsing or bits or anything that goes on in this podcast, I question your sanity, because it's definitely not the case. We're especially at the moment with everything being pretty crazy, we're flying by the seat of our pants, as we do best, where we do our best work. But I'm pretty happy that we get to be able to do this sort of stuff too. I'm pretty chuffed.
Yeah, this is going to be cool.
It's going to be cool, and it's going to go somewhere.
SteelSeries, like I haven't worked with them before or used their products until Dean made contact, and man, I'm already a fan of the keyboard. It feels fucking nice, and so does the mouse. Like,
it's not super loud either.
All of it is good. So I at the moment, right, I've got a laptop because I can't go into uni. I lost a bunch of software. I need all this data analysis software, and I've already used my free trial on my computer. Blah blah. I needed to use a laptop, so I pulled out the Corsair keyboard. Oh my! It feels like fucking dog shit. Absolute dog shit. Next Mullen Games video, a Corsair keyboard.
You know what? The thing that I'm going to say about the SteelSeries stuff is that it's heaps quieter. It doesn't feel it still feels top notch, but it's quieter. Like here's the old Razor going.
Oh,
yeah, right. You know that guy in every chat. I'm not going to out our mate who's particularly bad for it, but
dude, I can't even hear it.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
That's also because I've got a noise gate on. It's below the noise gate, but
do we
just take it in good faith. I'm pushing buttons. Can you hear that, kind of?
No. Do we have a command where people can check it out if they're in Oz? They can look at SteelSeries stuff.
They can scroll down, and there's a link in the live stream. So below our Twitch stream, there is actually a SteelSeries link.
Oh, there is.
So that's there. That'll take you through to PC Case Gear, which is without a doubt the best way you can get your hands on it in Australia. But if you're overseas and you want to pick some stuff up, we don't specifically have a deal that feeds back into the DDU or anything for that. So just buy it and tweet it at us and tell us, and then we'll retweet it. That's about it. But that link is also in the description of the DDU episodes, wherever you happen to be listening to them. So there you go. That's what that's about. Fantastic. Good stuff. All right. Well, what we might do, we might jump into the TWAB, because it's kind of a rough one. Destiny right now. I think I'm not going to say it's in like initial release D2 Curse of Osiris kind of doldrums, right? It's definitely not there. But
No.
let's just say the honeymoon period for Trials is well and truly over. We're starting to see.
That being said, I had a bunch of sex this morning.
I'm so glad that you had that. I'm so happy for you. But it didn't happen for me, so I'm still kind of a bit on edge, man. I'm just what the fuck is this podcast? So we'll quickly go through the upcoming events. We've got the where are we? I'm not going to push the button. I'm too scared that it's not going to work. So really, we're just waiting for the Seraph Bunker on IO to open up on April 7th, and the Guardian Games to start. Grandmaster Ordeals on the 21st of April, which really we're all still going to be in lockdown. So I foresee no excuses for not at least getting in and trying that. The Guardian Games, which we all have no idea what that is. I think it's some kind of class-based activity that we can all, Destiny's always at its best when there's some kind of bullshit rivalry that otherwise doesn't matter. So we'll jump into that. And that's from the 21st of April to the 11th of May. And on April 7th, so not far away now, weekly reset, we have the IO Seraph Bunker. So it'll be interesting to see what that kind of how that fleshes out. The story in terms of what happens is actually happening this season once we've got all the bunkers done and whether or not it progresses it. Because as we've spoken about in recent weeks, it kind of feels a little bit light on, but we're not going to specifically talk about it here. But some of the data mined leaked stuff really suggests that this season's going to come home strong. So I think I'm kind of waiting.
Well, you know when someone comes into chat and like you're watching a movie and you're like, oh man, how good, have you seen the ending of Sixth Sense when Bruce Willis is really dead? And you're like, no, I haven't seen that movie, but thanks for spoiling the fucking ending.
Yeah, dude. I think
it's life of a streamer.
Life of a law streamer anyway, because everyone thinks they got the fucking scoop if it's data mine shit, right? I don't know. I still part of me still wishes that that we'd stop it. Just I know it'll never happen. It's like there's always got to be one person who's out there. Oh yeah, I'm gonna do it because I can. But
do you know what we need? We need that that clip of our prime minister saying "Stop it." It was in that remix, and he's just like,
"Stop it!
Stop it!
Stop it! Stop it!"
We need that on your soundboard.
Yeah, stop it! Stop it!
Stop it!
Stay at home. Stop it.
What an idiot.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. Let's not get into that. I'll just end up depressed. I think that we're gonna see a little bit more towards the back end of the season, and I don't know. Maybe it's kind of something that we've underestimated in that respect. In that that the story does take place over the whole season, so the first week is really a small percentage of that. But time will tell, because I don't think it'll be particularly well received if we have another fucking season that's exactly like this, because this feels like a watered down version of last season. So anyway,
I mean, it would be unique if they actually gave this season a proper ending, which they're sort of setting up that they need to do that, because the story is simplified, I think, this season. And I think the only way to probably recover that is with like I said in my review video, is like we need to see the Almighty get wrecked by Rasputin, and then Rasputin basically say "get wrecked" in Russian. Like,
I don't know how to say "get wrecked" in Russian. I'm tempted to pull a phone out and attempt to Google it.
Get wrecked.
Get wrecked.
This screams.
But yeah, I mean, it's going to have to. Otherwise, like, I don't know. I still think it's a really odd choice for a story arc right now, anyway. But we live and learn. It's a cool little microcosm of a story for a season, and hopefully it leads into tying Rasputin to our side. Go forward. The end. We've spoken about it. We don't need to go back into it. But the jumping into the biggest part of the TWAB this week, or at least the most important part in my opinion, was the enormous amount of feedback about Trials. Now, Trials in recent weeks came back with to roaring fanfare, and everyone was loving it. And sort of within the space of 3 to 4 weeks, it's kind of soured already a little bit. Partly due to I don't know. I think like last week, Widow's Court is a particularly frustrating map for anyone who isn't just willing to, hard scope snipers for forever.
Widow's Court, I wanted to jump off a cliff.
Oh, yeah. I know people who just saw that was the map and just went, no, not even bothering. That's it. I don't care enough. I'm not putting myself through it. And that was off the back of knowing how it played in D1.
Anomaly would have been fine if Hard Light wasn't so prominent. Anomaly would have been a really good map. Just like Cauldron was a good map, but Cauldron's much more circular than angular, so you don't get those stupid ricochets. Like basically a light disco, in every corridor. It's definitely not as prominent.
Yeah, I mean, I fear for the day that we have Javelin 4 as the Trials map. I think because it's all straight walls as well. It's going to be exactly like Anomaly in that respect, and it'll be an uphill battle against Hard Light. But the other thing that we're seeing in enormously increasing numbers is people hacking the game and cheating and doing whatever they do.
Weird, huh?
You're right. What's happened?
Yeah. No, nothing.
Just looking out the window.
No. I was just in my head. I was like, "Oh, I should take down that YouTube video saying I'm live." But actually, no, that's fine because they'll send them here. And then I saw the dislike ratio. I'm like, "Oh, fuck! Have I got another person on here going, Mylan, you really need to stop making these videos, letting everyone know that you're making free content. It's absolutely ridiculous that you post this."
Some people just suck ass. Like they're just fucking idiots. Anyway, look, let's get on to other fucking idiots. We can circle back to bitching about people. I feel like it might be a strong theme for this week's episode. The prevalence of hackers. Now, I think maybe 1 in 10 games you might bump into a hacker. The first game we played of our card this week was dudes aimbotting, and it was super obvious. And I think they toggled off for a couple of rounds when they were a few ahead, and we came back, and then they turned it back on and were just drilling everyone in the head from wherever, at whatever angle, and, in rapid succession. So for mine, I'm kind of disappointed with the way that this is all panned out, given that the one thing that everyone said when they announced that Trials was going to come back was fuck, I hope they've thought about how they protect this from hackers. And to be honest, sitting here after a month of trying to play it, and I've played quite a bit, I don't think that they've really done anything to try and protect it from hackers other than trying to ban hackers, which seems to be just fucking whack-a-mole as quick as you
can. Probably the IP stuff, right?
Well, yeah, that's Steam functionality, in that now you don't get direct IP transfer when you're playing Trials on PC, but it does nothing to stop people who are using, aimbots or fucking hacked weapons and all that sort of shit. That's really become the issue now. So on PC, that's it, and back on consoles where they don't have the IP hiding stuff, it's still DDoSing. So I don't know. I mean, I haven't played on console for a long time, so I'm not going to speak to the console experience at the moment, but it's probably a little bit better than PC for the first time ever. So stick that in your pipe and smoke it. Good on you. But I don't know. I for mine, probably the hardest thing to cop about this whole situation is that I don't think it was something that no one saw coming. I think it was something that everyone saw coming, and it happened anyway. And I think that's disappointing. And that's why people are pissed off more than anything.
Yeah. And the fact that Trials has not really changed at all either.
Yeah. Well, that.
So it's like, you have to think like, they must have been working on something else and then scrapped it and just brought Trials back. Because remember they said they wanted to do something massively different with Trials, and they wanted to explore it, and they were keeping Crucible on the back burner and all this kind of stuff. And then Trials basically returned like unchanged.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing that came with it was the token system and a whole heap of Saint 14 voice lines.
So it's almost like they were working on something else, and then the voice of the community was so strong that they wanted trials that they just brought trials back. But obviously there needed to be some work with their hacky McHacks.
Yeah, I mean, look, there's a lot of incredibly poorly informed conversation around this too. Like, you can go and look at any of Damage's tweets over the last fucking however long, and you'll just see people screeching shit that's, you know, erroneous at him, which is unfortunate. But I think it speaks to where people generally are. You know, people are a bit bummed because it's kind of like this was going to be a thing for everyone, and it kind of has rapidly devolved into it's super fucking sweaty, which it's meant to be sweaty. But the first week, I was winning as often as I was losing, if not more, irrespective of who I played with. Now I feel like we're back in that D1 trials thing of like, I've got to line up my mates who are absolute fucking monsters and try not to be a burden in hope that I make some significant progress through it. So I don't know. I feels like it's really gone sideways for me super quick. But having said that, I'm still going to get in and give it a go tonight and try and make the best of it. So
the mess of it.
And I'll definitely make a mess of it. That's pretty on brand for me. But to get into what's contained in the TWAB this week, they go through and they basically say that they acknowledge that there's an issue with card rewards. They're going to look to fix that in a coming update and rejig it and see how they can go about making it more rewarding for people to play through the whole card. Disconnections, they're going to remedy that by allowing players to rejoin a card in progress, a game in progress. So good. Which it's a good thing because, I mean, it always feels like a bit of a hollow victory to me whenever you load in and, you know, someone drops off the other team straight away. Having said that, often when it's only two people, it's normally someone that's hacking, so it's even scarier. And then there's a whole heap there about their philosophy with respect to finding and banning players. But the thing to take out of that is there's actually a form, report suspected cheating, that is on Bungie.net. And there's a heap of criteria that they give here for you to be able to effectively report players that you're coming up against that you suspect are exploiting within the game. And so you'll be able to go through and do that directly. Now, it begs the question, what does the in-game report function do? I think that's
what I was thinking.
That's kind of taken a back burner from here. I think if you are seriously, you know, like we were fortunate today in that the first game we came up against dudes that were aimbotting and we went, oh, well, fuck. And we lost. And then we just effed the card out and started again. And then we were on our way. But if that was your last game and you didn't go to the Lighthouse because of dudes aimbotting, I would be fucking ropeable. There would be a different conversation being had on this week's show. I can assure you that. And I have no doubt at all that it happens to people. It absolutely happens to people. So
yeah, I mean, one of the guys that we fought today, he actually got disconnected, and then he came into stream. It was like a dude, and then he also said that he got DC'd, and then his final flawless card they got botted as well.
Yeah. So that's it, and it's starting to get to a point where it's really, is it worth the effort? The other thing too is this bug where you can't even get rewards out of your 3, 5, and 7 victories. That, you know, it's not even going to be fixed this week. Where last week it was, you know, there was the day. It's starting for me like, do you think we're starting to see the pinch of like Bungie having the whole workforce at home, like trying to keep the wheels on Destiny because of all this fucking pandemic? Couple that with the fact that, you know, there's a shitload more people sitting home on their ass doing nothing, playing video games. Oh, just cheat, whatever.
Yeah, I think it's that. And you know what just fucking pisses me off is Bungie has to divert so many resources just to maintaining a game, just to stop people, not even stop people, just to keep up with the new hacks that are made every week by some fucking pleb, that they've got to divert all these resources to fixing those aspects rather than making new content. That's what pisses me off.
Yeah, it's true. I'll back it. I'll allow it. But
like, I mean, imagine being a game developer and being like, cool, I don't know how much resources it would be, or even I can't even guess what it would be, but just imagine always being like, cool, new hacks out. We need to, or our game's getting more popular. We need to make sure we got so many people basically patching the game all the time and finding how they're exploiting it.
I mean, the other side of that is too, like, they can't tell you how they're fucking stopping people from hacking and exploiting in this game. It's a catch-22 because they need to keep that fucking shit secret and close to their chest, because if they let everyone know, then everyone can work around it, and it makes it even fucking worse. So
yeah,
it's such a shit situation to be in for everyone. But yeah, I don't know. I don't see a solution, but oh man, I just think it's going to have to go on, and hopefully as things move forward, we're able to get to a point where it's much, much less prevalent. I don't think we're ever going to be able to get it out. It is a PC thing for the most part. I mean, the game's much easier to exploit on PC than it is on consoles. But dude, I don't know. I feel a little bit lost with it all at the moment. I do.
Yeah, I think a lot of people are feeling a bit lost with Destiny. You just put it on top of, if you're a PvE person, there's not a huge amount going on. And then you maybe step into PvP, and your likelihood you're probably going to come across a hacker if you're doing trials. And then I think a lot of people just feel like they're just going to put the game down for a moment, which is fine.
It's fine. It's a healthy thing to do. Guys. It's something that sort of we're doing. Absolutely. You know what? You know what I think we need? I think we need someone to blame. I think we need someone to point the finger at. This bitch, Carol Baskins, down in Florida.
I knew you were going. Obviously, I knew you were going somewhere. I was like, "Where is this going?"
It just turned on its head. I just wanted to see your face when I was.
Dude, about 90% of Twitch chats are talking about the Tiger King.
Oh, dude, you can't get away from it. It's been the saving grace of the last 2 weeks on Earth. We'll talk about it in a little while, but I'm not finished it yet. I've got a couple episodes left to go.
All right, nice.
But yeah, holy shit. So the other thing that's in the TWAB this week, and it's a pretty I'm not going to get into all of them because there's shitloads of them, but the trackers are being updated, dropping with update 2.8.1, which is coming later this month. So there's a shitload of stuff there. I encourage you to jump onto the TWAB and have a look at all of the stuff that will be coming back. And yeah, so that's basically Destiny for the week. We've wrapped it up in half an hour. There's not a whole lot to talk about, but we've both been playing other games. So we've been cheating on Destiny a little bit. We've been a bit naughty. So Maddie, do you want to dive into an explanation of what the fuck happened on your stream last night and what it was all about? Because I watched quite a bit of it, and it was weird, but weird in a good way.
So look,
Mount turn a fucking fan on. It's so hot in here.
Mount and Blade 2. I think there's a lot of people that played it, the original, and apparently had a big modding community. Never played it before. I fire up a couple streams and I look at other people playing it, and it looks like absolute butts. It looks like shit, to be honest. And I'm like, no, I don't get it. But everyone's playing it. And then I watched one guy is quite funny, just in general. And I'm like, okay, I start to see what happens here. And essentially it's like Total War mixed with Mordhau. So you have like a top-down RTS view, and you a bit like Civ. Yep. And you like build your empire, and you got to manage troops and this kind of stuff. It's not as complicated as Civ. You don't have to do as many things like taxes and shit like that. And that's actually Total War's got that too, right? You got to manage a whole bunch of stuff.
Economic management.
So it's way more simplified than that. But when you do like battles in it, you like command, like it goes into like Mordhau mode, like a slash 'em up. Like you command your troops from like first person or third person on your like army commander, right? And if you die and your troops die, like you have to basically start again, essentially. So I was doing like the tutorial, and I was like raiding these mountain raiders, or this hideout, and we just stormed through. We got to the end, and it was like a little mini cutscene. Like I was like, oh, boss battle, and this Viking comes swaggering out of the bush, and you have dialogue options, and I didn't actually read them. Which we have a bit of a quest and whatever, and the first one's like, let's duel, and the second one's like, I don't duel, attack him, man. And I'm just like, let's duel. And I just hit the let's duel button. And he just two taps me. He just does one to the face and another one on top of the head. And I just fall over. All my army's taken because I did like a 1v1. I had to start again from zero.
I think we should play it. I think we should play it.
There's no co-op yet. I would
no. I think we should play the clip for the people that are...
Oh yeah. If you play the clip, of course, sure.
I'll see if this works. Let's just hold on your butts. Here we are. There's no sound. It's not going to work very well.
Oh, there's no sound.
Oh no, there's no sound. Oh no. Anyway, it's all gone wrong. Fuck. That was deflating. Anyway, go and watch it. It's on Matt's Twitter.
It's on my Twitter. It's a pretty chill sort of kind of game, but it's also addicting because it's got a relatively easy grind, I guess. And then you can have like big battles. And like now I'm just thinking about like I really want to do, 100 versus 100 and be on the battlefield. And the couple of the battles that we did get, you can die really easy, but if you jump into their back line like a fucking Viking and just start swinging, you can really like swing the tide of a battle. So it was pretty cool. I don't think chat enjoyed it as much as I did, but I was having fun.
That's all that matters, man. It was fun. It was fun to watch her. It was very strange. Like we did have a conversation of why does Matt love games that look like shit so much? Because between that and Tarkov, man, holy fuck. There is a severe lack of visual fidelity on your stream. I think fuck Destiny's there bringing up the average because it's still really quite a pretty game. But
Danny played, right? Oh, that was actually funny. Danny played, and she hits the fast forward button, and we're still learning the games. And basically, the bigger your army is, the more like food you need to have in your inventory to feed them. Otherwise, they start deserting. So she's just on fast forward, not paying attention. I'm seeing these pop-ups come on like fucking times 2 speed. I'm like, stop! What's happening? And then like the fucking half the army's gone.
There's three blokes left, and they're all starving to death.
Yeah, because they didn't have any food. And then we had like a really even battle, and I'm like, oh, you'll be fine, just do it. Everyone gets wiped out, and I'm down to literally like they're not rubles, whatever they're called, $5, right? Which is nothing. I had to sell my horse because you can't do anything as an army of one. It's very difficult. Like, so I had to sell my horse to get like some troops and rebuild.
Wow. Hard times in the fucking Middle Ages.
Yeah. But I enjoyed it. So I played that. You've been playing COD.
Yeah, man. I mean, I haven't played a fucking COD release on PC ever, I don't think. And I don't think I've played any, like, I haven't played a COD that's dropped since D2 came out. So it's been a fucking fair while. But I mean, Warzone is free. You can download it as long as you've got the space on your hard drive. There's no cost whatsoever.
Yeah, dude.
And you can just jump in.
140 gig.
And the one bad thing I'll say about it is that there's a couple of bad things I can say about it, but it seems to just the updates are absurdly large and very frequent. And if you want to keep, like, don't think you're just going to be able to go and get on and play it without checking this shit. Because twice, and inside the space of a week, I've loaded it up to play it, and there's been an update of like over 10 gig that I've needed to wait. Which for me is a very
size.
the cost.
Basically, Activision has a fucking share in hard drives.
Yeah, they're like trying to burn your hard drive out, so they make you buy a hard drive.
Exactly. They just bloated the game so they could get you to buy more hard drives, more SSDs.
The other thing about it that I'm like, what the fuck were they thinking? Is like coming from Destiny, where everything is really quite minimalist in terms of movement and interaction and all that sort of stuff. Moving to a game like COD for me was just like, Destiny's got a page of keybinds. COD's got a fucking sub menu with 5 separate pages of keybinds on it. that are equivalent in size to Destiny's
Like
one
what?
page.
Like the vehicles and stuff.
Oh, the vehicle shit I didn't even touch, but just the like crouch, prone, and then there's the sprint, combat sprint, extra special sprint. I don't know. I didn't even read the options. It was just ridiculous. There's like 3 different types of sprint. There's a W, and then there's a forward, and then there's another forward that just automatically goes forward until you stop it. I'm like, what the fuck is this in here for? Who's using this? Why? I don't know. It was fucking overwhelming.
You should Tarkov, for all the things it's taught me, has made me very competent with lots of different keybinds, because there's shit that's in there that's like Control T, Control R, Control right click, Control left click, Alt right click. Like they're just button combinations.
Fuck. Yeah, I couldn't handle that. The other thing, my other issue is that I play on a Tartarus, like a Razer Tartarus. So.
Oh, wow. Do you? I didn't know you do that.
Yeah.
Didn't know you were that sweaty.
Yeah, I have for ages. But when it comes up and says push Q, and I'm like, fuck, they just numbered. I don't even know which one it is. So like when I'm forced to try and remember what the keybinds are on the control, it's all right now. I've gone through and it's fine. I've managed to resolve it. But dude, it's just overwhelming. It is a fucking weird game to get into. It was just, I wasn't expecting that. I was literally going to jump on Wednesday night. Oh yeah, no worries, load it up, have a stream, all good. It was just fine. Oof.
Yeah.
I couldn't even, I failed the tutorial twice. One was financial mismanagement. The other one, I couldn't even just figure out how to put armor plates on. I just couldn't find the button. It's like, fuck this.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it killed me.
Yeah.
So it nearly died in the pan there.
The hard thing is with games is like when they've got too many essential buttons.
Yeah.
And that's what gets you in Taki. So I actually learn how to press B on my keyboard easily. Because I needed painkillers, meds, grenade. Okay, now I've got too many buttons for my mouse. So I actually have to start using the keyboard. And then when you got games that have lean in it, that takes your Q and your E instantly. So if you can lean in a game, all of a sudden you don't have Q and E either, which basically, and then if you got melee, that's your F. So now and your R's already reload. So now you got to use the bottom row of buttons to do shit, essentially. Your fucking Z's and your X's and your V's and shit.
You need one of those like MMO mice that's got fucking 30 buttons on the side. Just for all the non-essential shit.
Do you know what a potential sponsor sent me yesterday?
What's that?
So you know, like the Razer, like what's it called, Tartarus or whatever it is.
Yeah. This.
So they sent me. They've made one of them, right? But it's like a claw. Like you put your hand in it, and the buttons are like pull back or flick up. So it looks like a hand almost.
Oh, what? Like a Thanos glove.
Like a Thanos glove almost. Yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
Why would they give that to you? You are not going to be able to handle that.
Well, to be honest, the hand therapist in me sees the ergonomic value of it, so I'm interested to see how it looks and performs.
That's
I don't know if we're going to go ahead, but we'll have a. They definitely ain't called the bean flicker. Get out of here, Megaton.
No, stay, please. Please stay. But yeah, beyond the million fucking keybinds for scratching your ass, Warzone's actually a lot of fun. I jumped in with Keg and Nick and we played, what's the mode called? We played the Battle Royale, but we also played a mode called Blood
Did you do the money one?
Yeah,
the
which
money
is,
one
I mean, the prevalence of the word cash in that game is just, you will load into a game mode and you will hear cash 70 times a game. Get the cash, get in, get the cash, get out. Fucking cash drop, cash supply, cash, get the cash, fucking cash fest 2020. Just get all over it. It's just fucking everywhere. You can't get away from it. But once you tune it out and stop listening to it, it's how I actually had a lot of fun with it. You just get in cars and run people over and all that sort of shit. Don't take it too seriously, and it's a lot of fun. But it's another game that's also fucking getting hacked to the shit house at the moment. I mean, it's pretty bad. Yeah. I've seen a couple of things already, and I've only played probably 10 games, so it's interesting. But yeah, I mean, if you're looking for something crazy to do instead of Destiny, it's probably that. Good choice.
Another free-to-play game, I guess.
Yeah,
another free-to-play game.
You don't have to go
with the hackers. No, I think that's probably.
Yeah, I'm starting to see a trend here.
Do you think Destiny community would be happy if Trials was paid as part of an expansion?
Yep.
You've been advocating for this, haven't you?
Yep. Yeah, I went before they announced it, when we kind of knew that it was coming back, but before they dropped the trailer or anything. Go back and check those DDU episodes, because I was saying,
I remember we had fights over it.
Yeah, it needed to be behind something, whether it was a huge quest in the game that was a pain in the ass, it was time gated, something, just anything to slow down the ingress of fuckwit hackers into the thing. Because, I mean, they're obviously not hardware banning these people, or they're hardware banning people who are smart enough to get around hardware bans. So they just create another account, let power level their character, cheat to power level their character, and then cheat when they play. Like, they've all got the recluse because they just go into fucking comp and they cheat in comp to get all the headshots. Bang! Here's all the sniper kills for recluse. Here's the glory fucking requirement. Boom, 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 boom. Easy peasy. Inside of a week, they've got their
how big do you think account recoveries are in cheating? Like, people are paying to get the Lighthouse, so people who are doing them basically using cheats to, obviously, because if you're running a business and you're getting paid money to take someone's account to Lighthouse, you're 100% going to cheat.
Yeah, I mean, if you've got the option, you're going to do it, right? Like, why would what if you get to 6 wins and you lose, or you lose your last game and it burns the card? The money you're making per hour just gets absolutely decimated. So I strongly suspect that anytime you see these ads, we'll get you this gun, we'll get you that gun for whatever.
Dude, they've been asking me to do sponsors like some fucking idiot. Who in their right mind would go with a sponsorship with fucking plebeian.com to do like paid fucking Luna's Hell? Only going to cost you $250 US. They're not even cheap either. They're like ridiculously expensive.
It's
nuts. To do quests.
It's so expensive. But that's the thing. I guess if you're paying for a service like that, I mean, let alone just handing over your fucking account to someone that you don't know, or, that's insane. Paying, not knowing what's actually being done on your account is fucking even worse. Like you could do all of this shit, and then 2 weeks later, you could pay $150 for whatever it is you want. 2 weeks later, your account's banned because Bungie have caught up with it, and, see you later. A lot of people, it's easy for us as streamers and shit. Like, neither Matt nor I do trials carries, nor ever will. We're not at that ability level. But at least when you are watching someone do trials carries, the process is transparent. They're there, they're on screen, they're putting effort in. You can see what they're doing, and they're trying to help you. Yeah, absolutely, it does benefit them in the long run. People have built fucking careers out of doing exactly that. But when you just give your account to someone who's got an invested interest in getting it done as quickly as possible, you better believe they're fucking hacking. And I think that's the scary part of it. Like, how many accounts have we reported that have just been recoveries for some poor asshole who's like, oh, well, I'm never going to get the Lighthouse, I'll just pay for it. Bang, your account's reported. It's not something I could ever see value in risking, unless you genuinely don't care and you have more money than sense. But fuck, it'd have to be a big part of it, Matty. It'd have to be a huge part of it.
Yeah.
All right. Well, if you're rocking on in the stream and you've got anything you want us to discuss, anything you want to bring up, go for it. But I'm going to jump into my newfound love and my favorite thing in the world, and that's Tiger King. Matty, I think you were a bit you were onto Joe Exotic a bit earlier in the piece than I was. You probably watched it all before I started it due to me having children.
Yeah. Oh, like, you couldn't make this shit up. Like,
you can't.
Every episode you're like, what? And then it twists and it turns and it twists and it turns, and you're like, what the and then I remember going at one point, like, what the
I think Etsy put it best.
Have you
put it best when he said, if you wrote this down on a piece of paper, no one would believe it. It reads like a fucking year 8 fucking literature essay.
Have you seen?
With no guidance.
Have you seen the tweet comparing it to Game of Thrones?
Yeah, and it's so bang on. It's ridiculous.
I was going to send it to you so you can put it up on screen for those who haven't seen it.
Yeah, send it to me.
Share it with you. I'll send it to you again. But it is so accurate, the Game of Thrones references, that it looks like they've made it up. Like Cersei's Carol Baskin.
Of course.
Jon Snow is Snow's the Tiger King.
Yeah, of course.
Because he's likable but also infuriating at the same time.
That's the thing. That's the whole thing about it, is like every character in that. Well, I mean, I shouldn't say character because they're actual fucking people, right? Like every person in that documentary has so much like depth. Like when you start that show, you look at Carol Baskin and you're like, okay, well, she's effectively the good guy, but because Joe Exotic's the subject of the show, she's being made to look like the bad guy, right? So, yeah. But then it gets to the third episode, and I'm not going to spoil it for anyone, but you're like, fucking what?
Maybe she's the bad guy. Dude, and the first thing we did is we went to her YouTube to see if she had been like bombarded with like downvotes or whatever. And no. And bloody Danny, because she's well on the TikTok, right? So she's been liking all these fucking TikToks with these guys running through the jungle with tigers and shit. And we're like, how the fuck do they do that? It's from Tiger King, man. They've been renting those tigers out. These motherfuckers are monetizing it on TikTok by running with these stupid fucking Tarzan pants on through the jungle with big ass tigers.
What the fuck is Danny watching on TikTok?
Dude, you don't want to know.
Dudes in loincloths running along with tigers.
Yeah, because it's so absurd. You're like, how the fuck is this guy chilling out with tigers? And then you watch something like Tiger King, you're like, okay, I get it now. I get it.
Yeah, I mean, it's weird. It's weird seeing animals that, like, if I saw one, I would be fucking terrified of, but they're like borderline domestic pets, because I guess if they're not hungry, they've got no need to be going after anything, right? I don't know.
Have you seen them? Have you seen anyone attacked by them on the show yet?
Yeah. Yeah, man.
It's crazy, eh? It is nutty.
It's so just like I can't even get my head around that show. It's just I love it in a way that
Carol Baskin.
This bitch from Florida. She's gonna have to kill me to shut me up.
Hey, cool cats and kittens.
I should have done that in the intro. Hey, next week.
Hey, cool cats and kittens.
What the fuck? Anyway, that's been the good. We'll go back up through the questions, but that's been sort of the focus of my week, has been getting through work and getting home to watch as much Tiger King as possible and playing COD. So I've lost touch with who I am as a person. No music, no Destiny. I'm in fucking freefall. Somebody help me.
Do you know who? What we've been watching again? Vikings.
Yeah. Dude, I love that show.
Dude, it's so fucking good. I forgot how good it is.
Did you get up to
every season?
Are you up to date?
Is there new ones?
Yeah. Oh, I can't. now we're playing that game where we're trying to figure out where you're up to and where I'm up to, but I know I've watched all of them. So if I say something too recent, I'm definitely going to spoil it for you.
Is it on the new one's on Netflix?
Nah. I think there's only 5 seasons on Netflix, and it's into like 7, maybe. I don't know.
Okay, I haven't seen the new ones yet.
What's the last thing you remember happening?
No, because I might spoil it for people.
Oh, people. Fucking people. All right, let's go back up and we'll ask. All right, Speakable Auto. How much longer do you think the player base is going to keep trials going before Bungie can make some meaningful changes? That's $1 million question, man, right there. I can see a downturn in it already, and the more that happens, the more pronounced it'll get. It's kind of like a fucking...
Dude, we matched the same 3 people. We matched the same 3 people from match 5 to match 7. We had the same 3 matches.
Yeah, it's weird. And that's what I'm going to get at. You know, you wouldn't have done that in week 1. No way. Because there was such a high population. That, and you're playing while America's still awake. So while it'll try and match you on connection and card, it could still give you a game from the States if it can't find anyone at your level in the card. But, dude, I don't know. I mean, I like Cauldron as a map. I like it a lot more than
Cauldron's like a really good map.
Widow's Court and that sort of shit. I had a bit of fun on Anomaly, but it wasn't really for me. It was just that I managed to get into a really good team with Max and Nick, and sort of the strategy that we had worked. I'm looking forward to giving Cauldron a go tonight, because it's one of those sort of the quintessential Trials maps from back in the day. But I do worry about where it goes from here. I think that we're gonna see a gradual decrease, and I think the important thing is that, like, the way it is at the moment, even for streamers, like people wanting to do trials carries and help people, it's going to become really fucking hard, because it's either you're playing against absolute fucking sweats or you're playing against hackers. And the longer this goes on, the more pronounced that becomes. I think it's only going to accelerate, and I hope desperately that they at least do something with the token farming that'll give people the reason to just put their toe in the water. Even if they're losing, they can still get some fucking gear, because other than that, it's going to be an incredibly short-lived thing for something that was as hyped as it was, right? Like, when you consider the amount of value you get out of a raid, you get months and months and months out of it, and people are forever refining their run. And, you know, like, as much as the speedrunning community's been backhanded of late as well. I
honestly think
I'm concerned.
I honestly think that games have progressed so much since Trials first came out. It's not in its like, I think nostalgia played a really big part in people wanting to see Trials return.
Yeah.
And I think it'll be like if, you know, Battle Royale returned in 10 years' time or something like that. Everyone's like, we've moved on from Battle Royale now. Do you know? Like, I feel like the excitement of PvP is a different environment now. And I know, like, I'm biased, but things like Tarkov, and I think Battle Royale as a movement in general really changed people's standards of what a PvP activity looks like. And before that, like, what did you have before Battle Royales were big? Like, I think that's what made Trials an exciting thing to watch. And it blew up on Twitch, and it blew up as a spectator sport because you had these epic moments. And I think the landscape is different now. And I don't think Trials is the cool kid. It's the Billy Madison. Hey, you guys want to be cool? Like, coming back to school, do you know? Like,
yeah. I
kind of agree.
I definitely see what you're saying. I do think that the landscape has definitely changed 100%. And when you look at, like, you know, we were talking pretty heavily about Trials playing into being streamable, in terms of, you know, like, it's kind of like every game is this sort of, well, I mean, some aren't, when you get stomped or you stomp someone, but, you know, there's always that high drama that builds through a Trials card when you're watching someone incredibly competent play it. And I guess, you know, that is kind of analogous with, like, you can compare that directly with what happens as you know, like, progress in a BR. You know, the smaller that ring shrinks, the less people are on the field, the more intense it becomes, and you end up, you know, in the big moment at the end. But I think Trials as a game mode, the 3v3 5-round thing, I think it holds up well. I think it holds up better than I expected it to. But I think the systems around it are what's letting it down. The token system.
Right. Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah.
You know, like, the fact that people are farming the front end of the card, which is just shithouse in my opinion. But also, you know, like, I think there should be a card, right? And hear me out, that doesn't have losses at all. It doesn't matter how much you lose. You can go through and you can keep trying to get to 3 wins, say. Because 3 wins is the point at which you can start turning in tokens to Saint 14. So if you know, look, me and my mates, we're not that flash at PvP. we're going to go and we're going to do the card of fucking, I don't know, shit PV penis. And we're going to get our 3 wins. It's the easy mode card. It's casual as fuck. You don't have to stress about it. You just keep going until you get your wins. You've still got to get them. But you just keep going until, you get your wins and you can turn in your tokens and you get something out of your time playing trials. But, like...
I wouldn't even make it I wouldn't make it even a quest. Oh, no, I wouldn't make it a card. Make it like Iron Banner. It's just a quest every week.
Okay.
You have to, because that's what Iron Banner is, right? You've got to do the quest before you can hand in tokens.
Okay. So maybe it's like games completed or rounds completed.
Yeah, just games completed.
Rounds won.
So if you're really shit, you can get it. Or you can make it wins if you want. It doesn't matter. Just make it a bounty that you have to put on each week. If you know that you're going to get losses, so just so you play trials, I guess that's a cool idea.
I think the other thing too is that Speak will ask the question: who should 3 wins, 5 wins, 7 wins, and flawless be for? So look, flawless is for the sweatiest of the sweaties. That is the pinnacle of what trials is. The problem with flawless at the moment is that it doesn't really give any different gear to what you can get out of the rest of the loot pool, and I think that should be.
It's got to be better. It's got to be fucking amazing.
That's the biggest miss of this whole thing, is that, and it didn't need to be something tangible in game that had an impact. It needed to be a second armor set that looked incredible and was worth it, and rolled guaranteed good stats.
I mean, we've been saying this shit forever.
I know, and that's the frustrating thing about it, is that, it's fucking easy for us to sit here on a fucking Saturday afternoon having a beer and going, you know what they should do.
Oh, no.
But when you've been doing that for forever and the idea is still not been debunked, it's kind of,
the stuff in Eververse, let's be honest, the stuff in Eververse should not look better than your flawless gear.
Yeah, no. Fuck no. No way in the world. And there's the glow and all that sort of shit. That's cool. But the glow is when you've gone flawless that week, right? So every week...
I wouldn't know, mate. I wouldn't know.
Me either. I've got one bit of fucking... Oh, I've got 2 bits of armor because I got one this morning. But I've got I've done it once on a warlock, which was horrible, and I'll never live it down. But I think that having the ability to distinguish yourself as someone who went flawless even once by having, here's the arms I got, maybe you don't have the complete set, but you've got the arms because that was what was in there this week, and it looks different, and it's it's distinguishable from the stuff that you could turn in tokens for, and I think that's why it can't be casual now because they're trying to protect this loot pool from people who, quote unquote, don't deserve it, which I think is garbage. But I don't know. I mean, I just think that there's little things like that, fine tuning things like that, could really take a lot of the gloss. Put a lot of the gloss back onto it. It's just in such a hard spot. And obviously, until they do something about the hackers and all that shit, it's not really going to improve. But also the incentives aren't there. There will be people who will have that flawless title next week, I assume, because the boots will be available. And I imagine that for a lot of people, that will be the end of their involvement in trials. They'll go back to whatever else they were doing before trials existed. And maybe dabbling, running a card for fun. So that's another hit to player population. Probably at the opposite end to what we've lost so far in terms of most of the casual players. But
yeah, maybe I'll actually get flawless once that happens.
Well, I mean, what's the point, right? If you've got a decent roll of all the weapons and you've got all the armor, what are you doing trials for? After you've got the title, there's no need.
Unless you're streaming or making content.
Especially if there's fucking hackers in there. What are you doing in there? It's just annoying. You're just setting yourself up to be pissed off.
Yeah, so when that happens, that's gonna be rough.
It's in a fucking awkward spot, man. It's in a fucking incredibly awkward spot. But anyway, I think we're not gonna fix it. We can talk about it.
No.
I like being able to talk about these things though, and I think we've always managed to do it in a way that was relatively constructive. It is in a bad state. We're pretty open to we'll talk about that, but unless we can contribute, we generally don't bring up negative stuff, and I think we've managed to do that here. So there's that. All right, Maddie, let's dive into what have you got planned for next week? What's coming out on the old
So
games?
Mylan. I read the next law book, the Trials and Tribulations, which tries to restore some sort of reputation to Brother Vance after his Curse of Osiris release.
After he's being dismissed as a fanboy effort in the comics.
To be honest, it does a good job. It is a good law book. It's the only law book we've got so far. However, you can only get one a week for your. Was there even one drop today? I don't remember seeing one.
I don't think so. It was normally on your third win, wasn't it?
Yeah. No, I think it's just one win. I don't know. It drops in trials anyway.
Yep.
But there's 9 entries. So the beginning of my video is like, hey, you can read them on Ishtar. Don't know if you want to or not, but if you don't, have fun. See you in 6 weeks' time.
Fair enough.
Because we've got 3.
Yeah.
Because we've got 3. So, I mean, I thought I got chapter 2 last week. Doesn't matter anyway.
So what we're saying is that if you want to read this and earn it organically in game, there's probably going to be spoilers in this next bit. So just,
I guess that's what I'm saying. So that's what I said. I mean, I don't really know of any rare people that actually do that. So I imagine that you guys probably don't care. I think that's different from data mined, even though you might argue there's no difference between data mining and maybe checking the API. But in the past, we've had a good relationship between Ishtar Collective and Bungie. So they usually don't release stuff unless it's okay to release it. But I don't know in this case. Anyway, it explains the Lighthouse and Brother Vance, and it pretty much answers the question of why Trials of Osiris was created. And it doesn't really give you a conclusion, but what happens is the Lighthouse has a connection to Guardians, or it has a connection to the light. Basically, when Guardians die, Brother Vance hears this mysterious tone. When they had their final death, like a musical tone. When Guardians died to Gaul during the Red War, he heard a different tone and it changed, and he suspects there's a connection between the light and Guardians and their ghosts, but also death somehow. And he created Trials of Osiris as an experimentation because it brought players together to kill each other, and that was essentially what the book was about. The very end of the book, it pretty much looks like he sees a vision of the pyramid ships invading. So I think they're going to link the Lighthouse to the pyramid ships to Trials somehow, but we haven't got there yet. Sort of just ends on a cliffhanger again.
I wouldn't have picked that.
You look confused.
I just wouldn't have picked that the Lighthouse would be the thing that was tied to the pyramid ships of all of the stuff that came, right? Like, I thought it would have been more so Rasputin or something like that, like that he'd been playing both sides or whatever. And that may well still be the case, but it just like
it honestly looks like they're setting up.
Trials was always its sort of own little pocket, right? Historically. And it was just this thing that was kind of happening over here for people to prove how tough they were. For it to have serious significance to the main story of where we're going. I like it, personally, but I could understand why there'll be people out there that'll be like, you fucking serious? Because it's a place that not everyone gets to go. And I think that's kind of, that's a little bit sad. It's a fucking big place too. It is big.
So I think this is how they're trying to link all the seasons together, right? Because last season, what did we do? We collect the stonks, mate, and we went to the Lighthouse.
True.
What were we collecting again? All that. I don't even know the name. Fractaline.
Or Fractaline.
I'll be honest. I tuned out on that component of the game.
Yeah, Destiny stockbroking. I mean, I'm glad it happened now then and not now, because it would have been really quite.
Because if you think about it like that, I was having a hard time putting this together. So Brother Vance basically closes the Trials of Osiris in the law book, and I'm like, well, it's not closed, it got reopened. But now I'm thinking we reopened it with the Fractaline. So this then sets up the pyramid ship's arrival if it's linked.
Maybe. I don't know. Honestly, I wish I knew, but I don't.
Yeah. In general, it's actually a good read. Obviously, I'm oversimplifying it. It's a pretty decent read. There's a little bit of mystery in there because I get the impression Brother Vance thinks it's connected to the light, but it's going to be old switcheroo and it's going to be connected to the darkness somehow. That's a general impression I get because the spires of Mercury were created by the Vex, and this book even hints a bit further that it was created by the darkness itself. Like the darkness withdrew from Mercury and pulled all these Vexy spires out of the ground. And one of them was a lighthouse. So it's more of a beacon of darkness than it is a beacon of light, which I think will be a really cool way to flip it because it's called the Lighthouse. So this is what I think might happen is you've got the lighthouse, you've got these followers that are like, oh, we're the beacon of light, we'll guide you home, Osiris. And they've just been like a typical cult doing this complete fucking wrong thing. Just absolutely duped.
Yeah.
And I think that's where it's probably going.
That's interesting. I think Destiny is due another like serious paradigm shift like that. Like, I think a lot of people were expecting that with Rasputin, that Rasputin was going to turn on us and be the bad guy and sort of play the heel or whatever, because we don't really have that big, nasty, overarching bad guy at the moment, right? Like, there's just the threat of it. But it would be fucking cool if it could have been, if it could end up to be something that was bred a little bit closer to home in terms of the Lighthouse and something, you know, like Brother Vance. It'd be kind of in poor taste for the blind guy being the one who was too blind to see what he was actually doing. It'd be a bit on the nose for mine, but at the same time, it is what it is. We'll make the best of it.
I forgot he was blind.
Yeah. And he loves candles.
Got him.
All right, well, we might wrap up. But thanks for hanging out. If you're irrespective of where you're watching or listening to this, cheers for tuning in. Obviously, we're in one of those. Yeah, fucking please keep safe. We haven't really touched on the dirty Rona this week, but it's a real factor in people's lives. I'm starting to see people that I know personally be affected by things.
Yeah.
Both here and overseas. So, man, it's look, we're in a privileged position that we can literally save the world by staying at home and doing nothing. You know, this is our great war to fight, and we're going to get to fight it from the fucking lounge. So you've got no excuse.
I know, it's so millennial, isn't it?
It's just ridiculous. It's if you'd told me a year ago even that in 1 year everyone will just be encouraging each other to stay at home and do nothing, to the point where Samuel L. Jackson had a fucking curse word laden kids book that he was reading it out of, I probably wouldn't have believed you, but here we are. But yeah, on a serious note, whether you're still working or whether you're cooped up at home keeping your family safe, please continue to do the right thing, because I'll say this from an Australian perspective, it's starting to work here. It's not the same everywhere. Obviously, it's a far more serious situation, and I'm not diminishing its seriousness anywhere, but like in the States, in Italy, in Spain, and probably in China, it's still a huge deal. So just know that no matter where you are, we're thinking of you, and please stay safe. So rock and roll.
Yeah.
All right. Well, fuck, that got serious. I need another like Joe Exotic fucking Carol Baskins. Has anyone checked her involvement in the coronavirus? I think it's probably her fault.
Got him.
All right, we're gonna raid, but Maddie, do you wanna let the kind people of the stream know where the law might find them this week?
The law will find you in the shallow grave next to Carol Baskin's first dead husband.
She's a very litigious woman. I feel like we need to put a disclaimer at the end of this episode that it was all a joke. It's all a joke. We're just memeing. Fuck, please don't sue us. I've seen how that ends. I do not want that for me or my children. Fuck. Just leave my fucking shit-kicking podcast alone. Allegedly. Allegedly. Holy fuck, I'm going to play the music before we dig ourselves a deeper hole. Stand by for a red.